Right now, DTRPG is having its Cyber Monday Black Friday sale, and I wanted to highlight some of the best products that I saw on that list. Now, some of these are up to 30% off. I would recommend going and checking them out because there are some really fantastic adventures and systems and settings over there right now. I'll put a link below to the ones that I recommend in this video, and they will include my affiliate link. If you don't want to use that for whatever reason, you can always just go directly to the site and grab it. I recommend you get them, even if you don't use my affiliate link, but if you do, it helps me out. All right, I'm going to go through each of these very, very briefly. Don't have time to go through all 60 plus of them in detail, but I'm going to give a little bit about each one and why I think you should get it. So we'll start with the Painted Wastelands. Painted Wastelands is genius, psychedelic, hex crawl. The amount of ideas in this book are, it's kind of staggering. And this book will fire your imagination even if you don't end up using it directly. The art alone is definitely worth it. Wonderland is a book that I have in print form, and it's a fantastic way of approaching a mega dungeon or just adventure design generally. I really recommend you guys check this one out too, and go and watch Questing Beast's review of it for a full breakdown of why this is such a genius setting. Neverland is another one that I have in physical form only. I don't have it in digital form, but it's so good. The hex crawl setting of Neverland is fun, but even more interesting to me is the fairy realm that's also included, and it's something that I want to steal heavily from for my Dolmenwood game. The Sandbox Generator by Atelier Clandestin is one of the best ways of generating a sandbox quickly and easily. It's really fun. It's a massive PDF of 159 pages with just tons and tons of cool tables and tons of cool procedures for generating your own hex crawl. It's really cool. And it's also quite cheap, especially right now with the sale, so I recommend going and checking this one out. Also by Atelier Clandestin is When Sea is Calling. This is a guide for nautical adventures. It's similar to the Sandbox Generator in terms of the number of tables you get, although this is only 45 pages, but it's all for a naval campaign, pirates and seafarers. Really good ideas for generating islands and adventures, monsters, magic items, sailing, and all of that. Really recommend this one too. I reviewed it on the channel a long time ago, but very few people watched it. Go check this one out. Caernethlas Into the Midnight Throne is a solo game with tons of cool ideas for any kind of grim, dark setting. You've got really cool monsters and really cool magic items and just a really cool procedure for generating your own solo dungeon. I haven't played the game solo, but what I have done is use this for my own idea creation, my own spark tables, basically. Caernethlas is a really cool book. It's 220 pages. A good chunk of that is the game. And if you're not interested in a solo game, then that section of the book won't be as interesting to you. But the overall tone is fantastic. It's a grimdark catacomb undercity where prisoners are thrown when they are going to be executed, and you are one of those unlucky prisoners, and so you have to try to survive or what. It's a great idea for a campaign generally, but specifically that grimdark tone. Highly recommend this one. I've reviewed it on the channel. You can check that out if you'd like. Dungeon World is a fantastic set of game design principles. Yeah, there's a game in here. Yeah, there are some cool tables and adventure ideas in here, but really what this book is good for is making you think about things in a brand new way. I read this book, and in the first 20 pages, 30 pages, I had come across new ideas that made me rethink how I approached dungeon design, how I approached adventure creation, how I approached the table dynamic, and the kind of meta commentary on like how games are supposed to run and what games are for and all of these things. Dungeon World is a really cool book. This is another one that I have only in print form, and it's worth getting so you can read it. I read it slowly over the course of several days, just putting it on my bedside table and reading before I went to bed, and it was great inspirational reading. So I highly recommend you guys check it out, even if you don't intend to use this game system. It's really cool for that. The Black Worm of Brandisford is one of the best adventures out there, especially as an initial adventure. People swear by it, and it's really generic, and I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean is a lot of the terms are given in generic ways. So the dragon, the dwarves, the goblins, the giant, the witch. It's given in sort of a fairy tale-like setting and in a fairy tale-like presentation. The town is delightful, the encounters are fun. I highly recommend everybody check out the Black Worm of Brandisford if you've never checked it out before. On a very different note, Ave Nox is a sort of mega dungeon. It is a mega dungeon, and it is in the tone of something like Dark Souls, I would say. It's a dead city that has been locked away for a long time, and now people are starting to rediscover it. And it is pretty bad what they find there. It's got a lot of really cool ideas in terms of fast travel, in terms of buying and selling in the middle of a dungeon, in terms of just the creatures that you're encountering, the bosses that you face, the zones, and the way that the dungeon is laid out. It's all well thought out, but the overall tone is what this book does so well. You feel like you're in the city. It's really, really well done, and it's a big one. It's not the biggest mega dungeon you're ever going to see, but at over 200 pages, the PDF is quite substantial. So I recommend you guys all check out Agamemnon as well. By Charles Ferguson-Avery, Into the Weird and Wild. I've talked about this one on the channel many times. One of my favorite supplements out there. It's designed to get you into a horror wilderness setting. And I've said this before, and I think this is the best way to describe it. This book makes you feel like the wilderness is trying to get you. And that feeling of getting lost in the woods is actually scary again. So much of D&D is travel, and I think most of us kind of hand wave it away, and Into the Weird and Wild says, no, no, no. The wilderness is a great place for adventure and a great place for scary horror adventure. So Into the Weird and Wild, 250 pages just about in PDF form, is fantastic. So many ideas, so many locations, so many cool monsters, so many cool magic items, so many cool new spells and ideas. This book is worth it, I think, even if you don't intend to run a horror game, just because of the sheer amount of stuff you can draw from for your own game. And on the same note, Into the Sesson Citadel is that, but for a city. It's a little bit longer at 288 pages, also by Alex Coggin and Charlie Ferguson-Avery, but this one is also delightful in terms of the sheer amount of stuff that you get in terms of generating a city, locations in the city and under the city, factions within the city, monsters that you can find within the city, and ideas for how to make a city campaign both unsettling and fun. Rules for traveling from location to location quickly, rules for getting lost in a crowd, tons of extra diseases. Just Into the Sesson Citadel is a fantastic supplement. Again, I've reviewed it on the channel, as I have with almost all of these. So I recommend you guys check that out and then go buy this book. The Gardens of Yin is a very delightful setting. I've described it before on the channel, and I want to use this for my Dolmenwood campaign for one of my Fairy Lord's realms. The Gardens of Yin is so pretty. It's just a delight to read, but there's a tone of darkness to it, and as you get deeper into the gardens, things get weirder and weirder. But it's a really imaginative setting, and the way that you travel through the gardens is also quite imaginative. And I think a lot of people could take this and use it in different contexts for extraplanar travel or other realms. It reminds me a little bit of how Neverland does their travel through the fairy realm as well. So I think there's a lot of overlap between the styles there. And just like Neverland, I also want to use that for my Dolmenwood game as well, so there would be some similarities too. The art is great, the writing is fun, and it's really worth it. Check out the Gardens of Yin, I highly recommend it. Halls of Ardenvol is probably the best mega dungeon I've ever seen. Certainly it's the biggest, it's the most complex, it's the most well developed and thought out, and even though it's very big, this PDF, the complete Halls of Ardenvol, is over 1,000 pages in PDF form, 1,122 to be precise. That's excluding the map book, by the way. It is still very well thought out and laid out to make it as easy as possible to run, despite its size and its complexity. The Halls of Ardenvol is the gold standard of mega dungeons as far as I'm concerned. In my mind now, I compare every mega dungeon to it, for better or for worse. And if you want to learn how to write a mega dungeon, then I think you should at least do yourself the pleasure, do yourself this favor of reading through the Halls of Ardenvol. It's very expensive. Even with this 30% off sale, it's still quite expensive. And I've seen it for as low as 50% off. So if you want to hold off and see if you can hold out for something like that, then maybe go for it. But if you're interested in this book and you've been waiting for a significant sale, well then right now 30% off I think is what you get. That's pretty good. And the Halls of Ardenvol is worth it. Again, even if you don't intend to run the mega dungeon fully, you could take any floor or any section of this dungeon out and run it for your own game. I've done a deep dive of some of the first levels of this dungeon, so you can go watch those. And if it seems interesting to you, then you can go and pick up the book. Highly recommend it though. Beyond the Wall is so delightful. It's a setting, and it's an interesting setting. I should say system, not setting. There's an implied setting in the main book, and then there are supplements which develop an additional setting for it. But Beyond the Wall is essentially a coming-of-age story for brand new adventurers. It's designed for the young, I would say. At least the characters are going to be young. It is reminiscent of things like Earthsea or the Chronicles of Prydain, and I think those are the intentional touchstones of magic and of storytelling throughout. Players, when they generate their characters, create a web of connections between themselves and other characters. When you're generating your character, you're going to be giving yourself some bonuses to stats, but you're also going to be giving bonuses to your other players at the table as you develop your backstories together. So it's sort of a cohesive party that results. And again, the overall tone is something like coming of age. The worlds that you're going to probably be playing in Beyond the Wall are worlds that are reminiscent of Earthsea or Prydain, those sorts of stories. And those are some of my favorite stories. I love those fantasy novels. Ursula Le Guin, one of my favorite authors of all time. And the Chronicles of Prydain and all of those books are so good. So, Beyond the Wall, highly recommend it. If for no other reason than its magic system, which gets magic so right. Rituals in particular are so awesome. They're powerful, but they're difficult. They take time. They use real reagents within the games world. And they are the sorts of things you imagine really powerful magic being. So Beyond the Wall, highly recommend it. As well as its made supplement, in my mind, A Kingless Realm, which is a great setting for it and a sort of adventure path for it. If you like it, though, you can also try through Sunken Lands, which is the same system, but for sword and sorcery. It assumes that you're going to be a little bit stronger, and so the characters are supposed to start off at a little higher level, second level, third level, although there are rules for starting off at first level, of course. But through Sunken Lands is the same concept, with powerful ritual magic, cohesive characters, but aiming more at Fritz Leiber or Robert E. Howard stories, Conan the Barbarian, Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser, that sort of thing. Really, really cool. And it also has a supplement, which is great, The Sorceress and the Weird, which is quite big. It's almost as long as the original book. This one's almost 200 pages. And this gets into more spells and more options and just a whole bunch more stuff through Sunken Lands. So if you're interested in that sort of idea, then I recommend checking those out. Again, I've done reviews of these on my channel. You can go check those out. And then if you like them, you can go buy them. Free League is probably the best maker out there right now. And The One Ring is one of my favorite RPGs that's being produced currently. You know, it's ironic, I haven't really even played the game, but the books themselves are why I buy these, and I continue to buy them all as they come out. They're so beautiful. They're so genius. The design of them, the art style, the evocative imagery, and the ideas are just worth it. The One Ring has tons of great stuff, but its supplements, like Moria Through the Doors of Durin, and Realms of the Three Rings, and most recently Hands of the White Wizard, are so good. Now, Hands of the White Wizard is not a part of this sale, but the other books are. So I recommend you guys get them. Again, I've done reviews of these, and I've been glowing in my praise of them, profuse in my praise of these books, and I think it's well-deserved. So go check out those reviews, and then go buy these books. Highly recommend, especially in my opinion, Realms of the Three Rings, which is one of my favorite books of all time. So beautiful, so many good ideas, and the art in it is just kind of staggering and beautiful. Free League is also creating other RPGs, of course, and one of them that I've very briefly talked about on the channel is Black Powder and Brimstone. I'm not going to do a full review of it here. I did it in one of my flip-through of a physical book, one of my haul videos. But Black Powder and Brimstone is essentially what you get when you take the 70 Years' War, combine it with Darkest Dungeon, and throw in some, oh gosh, what might I say, Witchburner in there too. Black Powder and Brimstone is absolutely fantastic. The art style is great. The system is good. It's kind of a Morkborg take, at least as far as I can tell. I might be wrong about that. Again, I haven't played this one, and I haven't done a full review of it on the channel. But the art style alone is worth it. Every page, it's very punky in its design, and every page is just full of cool stuff. The world that's being presented is fantastic, with really grim tones, but also quite fun. And it's just another example of Free League kind of knocking it out of the park. So Black Powder and Brimstone, highly recommend you guys check it out. Watch some reviews of it. Go and check somebody out. Again, I haven't reviewed it on the channel, so I can't direct you to mine, but go and watch somebody else and then see if you like it. And if you do, go buy it. Also, Free League, you got to talk about Dragonbane. Dragonbane was, in my opinion, it's sort of, I think a lot of people are getting into it, but it also seems to be overlooked a little bit by a big chunk of the RPG community, and I think I understand why. It's its own system. It kind of has a parallel creation to the regular old school sort of design, even the regular D&D design. It feels like a Dungeons and Dragons from an alternate dimension sort of thing, because it's based on years and years and years of editions, but those editions mostly didn't come out here in America. And so, as far as I can tell, it feels like it's its own new creation, but again, feels like a parallel universe D&D. Now, the power level is not OSR typical, and so I think a lot of people don't get into it so much in that way. It has a very unique system. It has, again, its own tradition. But it's so good. The art is fantastic. There's a lot of great ideas from it, and the adventures that are being released for it, the systems and settings that are being released for Dragonbane, is really, they're top tier. So I think you should check out Dragonbane with more interest if you haven't already, if for no other reason than you can see some really cool art and you can get some really cool ideas. And again, the adventures that are being designed for it are fantastic, so you can steal them from your own game. So keep an eye out for Dragonbane. If you're interested in checking it out again, I've done a review. A lot of people did a review right when it came out. Go check it out. And if you like it, well, maybe go buy it, either in PDF form or in physical form. In physical form, you get a lot of cool tokens, at least I did with the box set. And yeah, it's a great system. Dragonbane, highly recommend it. Go check it out. Two absolutely fantastic monster manuals, the Tome of Essential Horrors and the Tome of Essential Horrors 2 by Necromancer Games. These are designed for old school essentials, and each of these is just a massive monster manual. But it's more than a monster manual, because every monster is given, of course, stats in old school essentials terms, but then every monster is also given quest hooks and ideas for how to use it in a campaign. Tons and tons and tons of ideas, pages and pages of ideas about how to use each of these monsters, hooks into your world, little bits of ideas and lore and information that you could build that are adventure worthy, that you could build a whole campaign out of. So good. This is how more monster manuals should be, in my opinion. Tome of Essential Horrors 1 and 2 are really essential. You guys should get them right away. I've done reviews for them on my channel, and I featured them in a video that was essential tomes that every GM should have. This is absolutely one of them, or these are two of them, I should say. I think of them as one book because they really are one extended monster manual. The second book is 194 pages. The first is 184. So these are massive books with lots of creatures. Go check them out. Highly recommend. G. Hawkins has created a ton of great adventures in his Gunderholfen setting. Tomb of the Twice Crowned King has some of those adventures, and other adventures, of course. It's 44 pages. Tomb of the Twice Crowned King is great. The adventures are awesome. They make use of a lot of like Dice and Logos maps, not all of them, but some of them are. And the adventures have a sort of old school vibe. Tomb of the Twice Crowned King is really good, and it's got a lot of adventures in it. But of course, Gunderholfen is the centerpiece. Gunderholfen is also a mega dungeon. It's 420 pages. It's not quite as big as something, of course, like the Halls of Arden Vol, but it is a very big mega dungeon, and it's a very proficient one, and it's a good centerpiece for the setting. But neither Tomb of the Twice Crowned King nor Gunderholfen is my favorite element of this world. My favorite is Pestilence at Hallowthorne. All three of these are on sale right now, as well as the rest of the G. Hawkins set, so I'd recommend you go check them out. The Bottomless Pits of Zorth and things like that. But the Pestilence at Hallowthorne is my favorite of his adventures, G. Hawkins' adventures that have been released. It's for 6 to 8 characters of 4th to 6th level, so it's mid to high range, and it's a fantastic set of dungeons. It's technically a mega dungeon, just barely a mega dungeon. I think it just clocks in at over 100 rooms. You got many levels going down into the earth. You've got a surface dungeon with a lot of different locations. Has a classic old school vibe. It was one of my top 10 adventures for this past year that I released, or that I reviewed, I should say. And I hope you guys can see why. Pestilence at Hallowthorne, fantastic and on sale, so go check it out right now. Now, the DCC has a lot of cool material out there for it, but one of my favorites is the Lankmar world. And the Judge's Guide to Nuin, as well as the whole Nuin set, is fantastic, and you can get it all right now on sale at RPG. This on DTRPG. This is just one of the Nuin books. There's a whole bunch. There's a monster manual, there's an adventure, there's a world gazetteer. They all come in the same box set, so I recommend you guys go check that one out. I have reviewed it on the channel before briefly. The Judge's Guide to Nuin. And of course, the DCC core book. This goes on sale periodically. I think this is the 11th edition of it now, or at least this is the one I have is the 11th edition. It might actually have a new edition. I'm not even sure. But the books are essentially excellent. There's just, again, this is 500 pages of good ideas. Even if you don't intend to use the DCC setting, I feel like everybody should grab this book just for the ideas, for the tables, for the inspiration, the art, which is almost on every single page, and it's all fantastic, or most of it. The vast majority of it is fantastic. DCC is it's just a great game. It's a really, really good game. And so I recommend everybody go check this one out too. I imagine most of you have it, or at least most of you have seen enough of it to decide if you want it or not. But if you don't, then go check out my review of it, which I did a long time ago on the channel. Or just go check out other people's reviews of DCC, and you'll see, I think, perhaps why I like it so much. The House Under the Moondial, very different kind of adventure from everything I've shown up to this point. It has a Dolmenwood tone to it, in my opinion. It's a fantastic setting. The house under the Moondial is essentially two parallel worlds. You have the city and the hex crawl and everything that's going on there with these religious zealots who have broken away from the Orthodox Church because of their zealotry, and they're now trying to burn any witch they can find and cause all this sorts of trouble in the city, in the town. Meanwhile, these children have gone missing and bad things are starting to happen, and there's a parallel realm, and it's a fairy realm, and it gets the feeling of the fairy realm down absolutely perfectly. It feels exactly like how I imagine a fairy realm to be. Not a realm of cute little pixies and, Tinkerbell, but actual fairy tale fairies. Elves and goblins, weird things happening, curses, whimsy, darkness. The House Under the Moondial is an excellent hex crawl, and it's, again, 2 for 1. It's 100 pages, and the design of this book is brilliant. You have to see it to understand what I mean. Go check out my review. But the book has been laid out in a way that makes it incredibly easy to navigate and to use. So The House Under the Moondial is an excellent adventure, and I really think you guys should go check it out. Operation Unfathomable and The Odious Uplands was combined into Completely Unfathomable. This is by Jason Schultes, and this is both an Underdark campaign and a setting above in the world of a weird, gonzo, bizarre world. I mean, when it's unfathomable, it really, really is. I've done a review of this, and I think a lot of people on YouTube have, so go check out those reviews, because I can't really do it justice here. It's weird. It's really, really weird, and I think everybody should check it out. It's not going to be for everybody's taste. Like, it's just so gonzo and bizarre that some people are going to bounce right off of it and say, nope. But I think a lot of people are going to go, wow, interesting. And the ideas in this book, again, this is one of those books that fires your imagination, just because it's so off the wall and out of left field. It doesn't shy away from weird fantasy. So anyway, Completely Unfathomable. I highly recommend you guys check it out. And if you like either the Uplands or the Underdark separately, you can get them separately too. But I recommend the combined book. Windwraith, a generative wave crawl setting toolkit. Really, really cool. I've reviewed this on the channel. It was actually in one of my top 5 settings that you've never heard of, although it's actually a generative setting rather than one particular setting. So you generate your own setting with it. And the idea here is you're creating islands, and it's sort of dystopian, maybe is a better word there. There's this sort of element of body horror. There's an element of apocalyptic. It kind of has like a weird blending of a lot of different genres. It has a little bit of like Waterworld in there, but not in like a cheesy 80s way, more like in a gothic horror way, if that makes any sense. Windwraith is fantastic, and again, I think you guys should check out my review of it, a couple reviews of it, and if you like that, then go buy it. On the same note, also by the same creator, is Mana Meltdown. This is Lazy Liches. Mana Meltdown is a body horror psionic battle royale adventure. Really, really interesting, where everybody's trying to race to the bottom of this tomb of a artificer, biomancer, weird trickster wizard who's dead, and his lab is going to collapse in on itself. His lair is going to collapse in on itself, and people want to get all of his secrets before it does. And so you are racing other adventuring parties down into the heart of his dungeon. It's a weird, weird setting, and it's not going to be for everyone, but it's really cool. And once again, it fires the imagination. Dolmenwood. Need I say more? It's on sale. Go check it out. In addition to that, Necrotic Gnome has most, if not all, of their products on sale, and so I'd really recommend, if you guys don't have them, grabbing the adventure anthologies, both 1 and 2, full of fantastic adventures. Some of my favorite adventures of all time are in these books. The Comet That Time Forgot is a classic of, what would you say, Stone Age adventure, or maybe just sword and sorcery, sword and sandal, if you want to push it a little bit, but I think it's more Stone Age fantasy. It's so cool. It feels heavy metal and 80s. And a lot of the adventures in here are just excellent. So both books 1 and 2, they're going to have different adventures to fit different styles and different tones. You have some excellent creators like Chance Dudinack, who I've already reviewed here with the Blackwood Brandansford, or Diego Noguera. Just Nate Treem, Brian Yaksha, fantastic creators who've created some great adventures. So anyway, go check them out. As well as The Incandescent Grottos, which I've talked about at length, by Gavin Norman. One of my favorite adventures of all time. Certainly, it's top tier. It really, really is. I've had more fun with this adventure than a lot of others that I've ever run. My players just devoured it. They loved it. And then Holy Mountain Shaker by Luca Reyes. This is such a cool adventure. The art is so good. And the design of it is really cool, and I haven't seen it replicated very much, and I think that's a shame because it should be. The point crawl nature of the mega dungeon is kind of what you're doing, going down into the mountain. The timer elements, which in my review of it, I wasn't so keen on, but I think I've come to appreciate more as time has gone on. The importance and necessity of a tight timer for your players. That's pretty cool. The overall vibe is just excellent. So much of the art reminds me of Tintin, and that's a big win in my book. So go check out my review of it, and if you like it, go check out this book. The Valley of Flowers is another book that I have only briefly reviewed in one of my haul videos. I actually just got it in PDF form. This is so beautiful. Once again, I want to use this for my Dolmenwood game as an alternative fairy realm. There's so many good ideas in the Valley of Flowers. And really, in an interesting, well, as you can see, Wildendrum Volume 1, Volume 2 is being kickstarted right now, so the second part is going to be coming out hopefully fairly soon. It's a really cool setting, guys. It's fey, or it's imaginative, it's chivalric, but it's weird, and it's not set in our world or in a standard fantasy world. It feels something like a fairy realm, and so I think, once again, it would be perfect for something like Dolmenwood. If the players end up going to one of the fairy realms, you make it the Valley of Flowers. So anyway, highly recommend you guys check out reviews of this online. I think Questing Beast does a good one. And then if you like it, go buy it. In a very different way, very different tone, we have the Argosa set of adventures. Lost Roads of Dol Caroc is one of my favorites. It's essentially a toolkit for generating your own Underdark Dwarven Ruin Roads setting. It's not exactly one particular place. It has a bunch of ideas and a bunch of places that you can put around a sort of generic area. There's tables for random encounters, tables for how far you've traveled and all that stuff and what you encounter on their travel. It's a toolkit. There are some particulars given, but it's more of a toolkit. And I love that. I love those sorts of things. I love toolkits. I like generating my own adventures with your ideas, right? You as the creator. So Lost Roads of Dol Caroc is one of my favorites of the Argosa set of books. Now, the Adventure Anthology, which is for Shadowdark, is not designed for Tales of Argosa, but I think the adventures are set in that world. At least that's the vibe. These are all sword and sorcery adventures. And this is one of the best adventure anthologies I've ever read. It's got dozens and dozens of adventures, 225 pages of adventures, and they're all sword and sorcery. And when I say sword and sorcery, I mean they really do feel like sword and sorcery. They catch the vibe quite well, and that's pretty rare. I think a lot of people call themselves sword and sorcery, but they don't do it very well. The adventure anthology here really, really does. Pickpocket Press has done excellent work here. So go check out the adventure anthology, and then of course, the Tales of Argosa book as well. It's my favorite sword and sorcery setting, or I should say system. It's my favorite one. It's the one that seems to capture it the best, at least in terms of its overall vibe and presentation, the many, many tables you can get. I love Tales of Argosa. Again, yeah, I've done reviews of this before, so I'm not going to go into it more here, but you guys should check it all out. Gods of the Forbidden North, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Again, what need I say more? These are some of the biggest and most impressive books out there for old school essentials for almost any game. It's a campaign setting. It's a whole campaign from beginning to end. Volume 3 is going to be released shortly, hopefully in the next year. I just can't say enough in praise of these books. You get so many cool locations, so many cool adventures, so many cool NPCs, so many cool magic items, monsters, dungeons. The first book is 530, or the first book is 482 pages. The second book is 532 pages. Now, a lot of that is descriptions of the setting and of the characters and of the NPCs, and so this is less of a toolkit and more of a complete pre-made campaign world for you. But it's done in a way that allows you to play it either as a sandbox or as a, session by session. Here's what the adventure you're going to be doing today, sort of a campaign, a regular, more of a railroaded one. You can choose either path. And I think a lot of people are probably going to choose the former, the sandbox. But if you're someone who's coming from 5th edition and you want a complete campaign laid out for you, more like something like Wizards of the Coast would do with, one of their campaigns, you're not quite in the mood yet for a sandbox or for an more open campaign, then this book also has you covered. It says, here's the sequence of adventures you can do, and here's how you can explain the sort of pathways between those adventures to your players. So really, really recommend Gods of the Forbidden North. I've reviewed both of the books on my channel. Fantastic work, fantastic art, fantastic inspiration. A love letter to the 80s and 90s fantasy that I love. Gods of the Forbidden North 1 and 2, highly recommend. Really, really good. The Knave 2nd edition book is one of the best resources for D&D any game, GMs, TMs that you can possibly have. It has so many tables, D100 tables of everything. Go check out the reviews that many people have done of the Knave books, including the creator, who flips through the book and shows you some of the amazing tables you can get. I've looked through it. I have printed off many of the pages myself for my own GM binder, my adventure creation binder. The Knave 2nd edition book is a must-have. Along with the first book released by Ben Milton, The Questing Beast, which is Maze Rats. Again, this is smaller tables, but they're more maybe easy to navigate. I think a lot of people actually prefer Maze Rats as a generative aid than Knave, although they're both excellent. I tend to keep the little pamphlet that I have, the print book, in my GM binder now, and I just open it up when I want the pages. Now, the game is good. Both Knave and Maze Rats have full RPGs built in, and those are good games. But these are just there for you to take and use at your own table. Take the ideas, take the mechanics, but really take the tables from these two books and use them in your own adventure design and your own dungeon design. They're fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, my favorite adventure of all time is The Waking of Willoughby Hall, also by the creator, Ben Milton. It's the best adventure, in my opinion, out there. It's so fun, tons of cool stuff to do. I've run this many times. Each time has been some of the most fun I've ever had running D&D, and the adventures have been wacky and entirely different each time. I've never had the same adventure twice in The Waking of Willoughby Hall, and I've run it now 3 times. Well, 4 times, but once, not all the way through. The Waking of Willoughby Hall is fantastic. You guys should go get it. Not even a question in my mind. Go get it. The entire Kevin Crawford set of books, the Without Number set, is all on sale right now as well. I'm not going to click through all of the different pictures. You guys know them all. Stars Without Number is, I think, my favorite, but Worlds Without Number, Ashes Without Number, Cities Without Number. I think all of his other books as well, like Atlas of the Latter Earth, Wolves of God. All of these books are out. And, I mean, of course, they're all out, but they're also on sale. So I would recommend checking them all out for the genre of your choice, whichever one you particularly like, whichever one speaks to you. I like Stars Without Number as a sort of science fiction-y, science fantasy, especially like the creation tools that it gives you. You get those in the free edition too, by the way. And all of these books have a free version, so you can go and download that for free if you haven't. They're huge. This is the free version of Stars Without Number, and it's 260 pages. That's just incredible to me. There is the paid version, and the paid version is now on sale. It's kind of expensive, but you get a lot more stuff than just the free version. So I recommend you guys go check out all of Kevin Crawford's works. So good. So good. The Evils of Ilmire is a gross, grimy, swampy, grim, but also a little whimsical campaign setting for classic D&D or classic fantasy of any kind. I mean, I think when you buy the PDF, you get a bunch of different versions of the book. You get rules for, different systems. And that's really cool. Different adaptations and conversions. So if you're somebody who wants to run a game for a very specific old school system, well, you can buy the Evils of Ilmire, and chances are one of those systems is either applicable or very close, or your system of choice. I've reviewed this. A lot of people have reviewed it. It's got a little bit of body horror. It's got a little bit of grossness to it. So keep that in mind. It gets kind of dark and grim. But the art is delightful, the setting is really, really cool, and the ideas are fantastic. The Evils of Ilmire is something that you want to at least consider, I think. Wyvern Songs is another one of these adventure compendiums, compilations, anthologies, and it has some really, really cool ones in here. The Sinister Secret of Peacock Point is really, really cool. The Valley of the Singing Stones is, I think, what it's called, are both excellent adventures. All the adventures in here are good. But those two in particular, I think, are really, really fun. And I've run The Sinister Secret of Peacock Point, and it was great. The ideas are funny, they are dark, and the creature that you're fighting, the Skitter Lord, is quite creepy and gross, and my players were good and freaked out. It was a fantastic one. So Wyvern Songs, I recommend you guys check out. A really cool anthology. Okay, we're getting down to the end. Trilemma Adventures is something that I have talked about on the channel before. A long time ago. Trilemma Adventures is a fantastic adventure compilation, adventure compendium, adventure anthology. You've got 55 different adventure sites, regions, and settlements, as well as some information about the creatures and just kind of the world that's being developed, how to blend them all into one world if you want. But each of them is a standalone place. And Trilemma Adventures is just full. It's system neutral, pretty much. But it's full of crazy cool ideas with isometric maps, for the most part, of each of the locations. And they're just weird. They're cool. They're not the standard dungeons. Even the ones that are just kind of, you know, caves under the earth are not standard. They're all interesting and they're all quite fun. So I recommend you guys check out Trilemma Adventures as well. Now, the Wizards of the Coast is also having a sale, and so all the classic D&D adventures are on sale, things like Ravenloft, things like the Isle of Dread, but I wanted to highlight a few that I really, really like. Sun the Citadel is one of my favorites. I've talked about this on the channel before. It was kind of the starter adventure for 3rd edition D&D, and it still holds up in my opinion. The dungeon's fun. It doesn't have a lot of different paths or choices, but it's easy to adapt. I've adapted it multiple times to my needs. The world above on the surface is actually quite cool too. Oakhurst and the surrounding region can be developed into a really cool adventure, and it's the threat that is being developed in Sun the Citadel is dangerous enough that you have to deal with it, but not imminent enough that you have to deal with it right now. And so it's a great addition to a hex crawl or to a sandbox. You put Oakhurst and the Sunless Citadel on your map, and you have these blights that are in your random encounter table, and that's where they're coming from. And so slowly but surely, maybe they start to, you know, appear more and more on your random encounter table in the hexes around Oakhurst, until the players realize they have to go deal with this threat as these blights begin to spread. It's a really cool adventure, and it is quite fun. Deals with kobolds, and it has one of the most famous kobolds, Meepo. On that note, though, we have one of my other favorite D&D classic adventures, and that's Night Below. Now, this adventure has been, I think, made famous by Matt Colville over on his channel. He made great use of Night Below. I ran a campaign in Night Below and all the way through, mixing it with a couple other adventures, and it was really, really fun. The players had a really good time with Night Below, and I think I would run this again. In fact, I kind of do want to run this again with the same sort of additions and changes that I made before. I highly recommend you guys get Night Below in its box set. Really, really cool. In physical form if you possibly can. But if not, the PDFs are good and the scans are decent. So go check them out. You can also get the Dark Sun box set. The Dark Sun box set is, I think, it's worth reading, even if, again, you're not going to run in Dark Sun, for just the sheer number of ideas that you get. And, of course, if you don't have it, you should get it. If for no other reason, then it's like a part of the hobby. If you don't have the Keep on the Borderlands, go pick it up. Finally, and I mean finally, Ultraviolet Grasslands 2nd edition is on sale. This is one of the very first reviews I did on my channel. Man, this book is beautiful. I might review it again at some point soon, just because it's one of those books that you need to periodically return to, both for the art, which is delightful, bizarre, strange, but for the ideas. Just like the Painted Wastelands, which I'm sure was heavily inspired by Ultraviolet Grasslands. The Ultraviolet Grasslands is psychedelic and dreamlike. It feels like a dream. That's really how I described it in my initial review, and that's how I would describe it today. It feels like a dream, and it's like in the best way. Strange ideas, weird, bizarre combinations of things, and the art is just mind-bending. It's like a mix of Mobius and Tintin. I'm sure those are who Luca Reyes was inspired by. I love Luca's style and all of his adventures and all of his art. So anyway, go check out UVG 2nd edition. Highly recommend it. All right, well, that is it, everybody. I know this has been a longer video. I tried to go quickly, but there's a lot of things that I recommend on sale right now. I'm sure at least something on here, this list you don't have that has sparked your interest. So go get it if you can. And again, if you use my link below, you'll help me out a little bit, give me some money. But if not, then just, if you don't like to do that, that's totally understandable. You'd rather not have, I don't know, whatever your personal reasons are, maybe you don't like to do that. Just go to the DTRPG and, search these up individually without using my link. And you'll be able to get it on sale. All right, hope you all have a great rest of your week. For those of you who celebrate, happy Thanksgiving. And I'll see you all in another video.